circling. Still circling. And we're back. All right, let's see what we got here. Go ahead. Tell him. Ian, tell him.
Tell them what's going on. It's obviously we just watched the Barracuda lose a pretty tough game to the Texas Stars, 6-2. It seemed like they played the Dallas Stars. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to see what's going on here. So obviously look at the Barracuda playoff push. It's not in peril. I don't want to say it's in trouble yet. I think the Condors winning tonight, they're 7 points out. So I think when me and Kevin did a show earlier, we talked about which team did I think that they were going to be in the run. I thought it was going to be the Condors, and there were reasons for that. The Condors, the Barracuda and Condors had 4 games left over their schedule, so obviously there was an element of the Barracuda controlling their own destiny.
Yep.
But obviously, they only won the one game against the Condors. The Condors have been on just an absolute tear of late too.
Well, let's be honest.
Whereas the Barracuda has been not so much on a tear.
I was going to say, let's be honest. If the Barracuda have their shit together, they're petitioning the league to start every game 10:30 a.m. Kids Day, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, that game against Henderson. I mean, Weisblatt, was that the fastest goal in Barracuda history, 27 seconds in? I never saw confirmation.
I don't have confirmation of that either. It's got to be close. If it's not, it's got to be close.
I mean,
I can't confirm or deny though.
Yeah, I mean, 3 points for Kaut. Agazino has a 3-point night, including an empty net shorty. Dell goes 4-0 against Henderson. That was huge. Dude, what was going on with the officiating on Wednesday? Dude, they were letting it all go.
Yeah, they pretty much they didn't know where their whistles were for a lot of the game. I thought there was a lot of really obvious penalties that probably could have been called either way, but they didn't get called, which I think for a team that plays as hard and loose as the Barracuda do, I mean, I think that kind of works to their benefit, because I think they play to that line pretty hard. So if you're not getting any calls against you, you can kind of push that a little bit. So it was definitely a game where I think the refs buried their whistles. And
yeah. So what was the deal today? I mean, man got kind of worked. And I mean, to be fair, the CUDA, they fought back in the second, but just fell apart in the third.
Here's the thing. I think watching this game, I don't think the Barracuda ever really deserved to be in this game. I think they took advantage early on of what few opportunities they got. And I think that is what allowed them to get in this game. And, I'll give them credit, because even though I think they got pretty badly outworked this game, and I don't think they were outskilled. I just think they were outworked.
All right.
I just think that is Texas a better team? Yes. But tonight,
Scott Reedy, baby.
Yeah, Scott Reedy, yeah. I just think tonight they got outworked. I think they lost a lot of 50-50 battles. I think, they ended up doing a lot of chasing the puck. It was like they'd have to play in their own zone for extended periods of time, and then you might get a one and done rush, where I think they got a couple of goals tonight, or they had to dump it into their zone so they get a line change and start the process all over again. Not a fantastic game for the Barracuda. I think it's something that they, I think if they're going to look back at this game, and if they are on the outside looking in when the dust settles, this is a kind of game where I think they're going to look back and go, yeah, we probably could have done better there. Strauss-Mann, you brought up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just going to say they get an opportunity to clean it up tomorrow. Strauss-Mann, what did you think tonight?
I think Strauss-Mann, I thought he had a good game. I think there was a couple of goals where I think there was the one that went through the 5-hole. I don't know if it was the third or fourth goal. I think that one he probably wants back. And there was another one where he had it in his glove and then it kind of flicked out of his glove. and then they scored on that rebound, and then but I think by then the wheels had kind of fallen off. But I thought overall, I mean, he got shelled tonight. So I think he played well. I think he had like they had like 40 something shots on goal. So he made some saves.
Who do you think goes tomorrow then? Dell
Probably
then?
go back to Arundel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Arundel, I'm not sure what's going on with Makiniemi. I haven't heard anything specifically as to what's going on, but he's been a scratch for a while now, which makes me wonder if there's a health issue and they're just, how the Barracuda never tell us anything.
Yeah, God, that is so annoying.
Like, I can tell you on pretty decent authority that, like, Onyebuchi is not going to play again this year. But I sure as hell didn't hear that from the Barracuda, which is frustrating. You know what I mean?
Oh, well,
it's sad.
Can I share a fun piece of news with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reason why I wanted to have a little discussion with you, I mean, and of course, we can sit here and talk a little bit about the CUDA and the Sharks. This is the first time, somebody jot it down, the first time that we're streaming live on multiple platforms.
Ooh, so where are we streaming?
We are currently streaming to the Teal Town USA YouTube, as we do.
Right.
We are also streaming live on the Teal Town USA Twitter, the Teal Town USA Facebook page, and our Teal Town USA Twitch.
Wow.
Yeah, we're live on Twitch TV too. So this is pretty
fancy.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if I can stream to multiple platforms. I feel like I'm inferior again. I mean, I've always been inferior, but
well, and of course the what and so the cool thing is that I can see all the comments that have come in so far, and all the YouTube comments are cool. The one Twitter comment, the one Twitch comment, of course, is, "Hi, I'd like to offer you promotion of your channel, viewers." And get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and Lacey in the chat saying Onyebuchi had surgery for a torn left labrum. I knew he was done, but I didn't know the exact injury. I'm sure Kevin told me. I just never.
Ruben saying we need to refocus Twitter, YouTube, and OnlyFans. That's what I need.
Nobody wants to see this pasty white skin on OnlyFans.
Oh, Chris JWS in his house. It only took Chris he had to be gone for 4 years before we figured out how to go to multi-platform.
How to go to multiple platforms at once. I think it's cool. I think multi-platform's cool. I dig it. I will have to look to see if I can mimic this.
Gotta give the people a choice.
That's 100%.
But yeah, if you get on Twitch right now, you can see our stream there, or Facebook, or Twitch. What is it?
Dig it.
Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter. Yeah, this is very cool. I dig it because I opened them all up and I'm like, there's no way in hell this is gonna. Holy shit! Look at that.
Apparently, I'm echoing though, and I'm not sure what's going
on.
No,
that was early on, and okay. I know what that was. That was my problem. I needed to mute your Skype channel.
Yes. And has NDI completely off topic here, and maybe that's something I should ask off air, but whatever, I've already started.
Sure.
Is NDI giving you guys problems too? Because I've had nothing but problems with NDI just working when it wants to lately.
No, not have any problem with that. But then again, go ahead and, hit the OBS Reddit, stuff like that. I'm sure they'll help you out. My thing...
it's hard because I don't think the plugin's been updated for a while, and I purposely haven't updated. Like, my copy of OBS is way out of date at this point, just to try and keep NDI working. Because I know that once I update to the most recent version, NDI will stop working altogether. So yeah, it's been a pain in the butt, because for the last two shows I did, it didn't work. And then I had Puck Guy on last night, and he echoed for the first few seconds because it decided to work suddenly.
Yeah. No, this is I switched to a new audio interface. I went from Scarlett to this thing called a Presonus. And with the Presonus, the on one hand, it's very cool because before, when I would play audio clips and shit like that, Jerk wouldn't be able to hear them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But now I can, feed audio back to him while I'm playing shit, so he hears everything in the same time I'm hearing it. But the what is it? The half bad of it is that I have to make sure that if I load in any clip that I mute the Skype channel or we get the echo prod. So
Got it.
that's
Makes
why
sense.
as soon as I saw that thing in the chat that said you're echoing, I'm gotta mute the Skype channel.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a little inside baseball on how we do streams, which is why you're all here.
Yeah, Ruben, first time viewer, love the content. Well, thank you, Ruben.
Thanks, buddy.
I don't know. I think it's the first time you viewed us on Twitch, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like you've been around.
Oh, look at Chris. Happy 3,000 subs. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
We appreciate that. And Chris, I want to thank you for opening those 2,800 accounts.
Yes, I appreciate it. So back to the Barracuda. So right now they sit 1 point behind the Roadrunners for that 7th and final playoff spot in the Pacific Division.
How many left do they have against
by Coachella Bowl?
How many against Tucson are left?
They will play their final 2 games of the season against Tucson. So this could come right down to the wire. I mean, it couldn't be any better.
Oh man, now that's a scheduling Easter egg right there.
It really is. Unfortunately for the Barracuda, though, the rest of their schedule is not kind. Of their games left, they play Texas again tomorrow. Texas, again, a really good team. They're the best team in the Central Division of the AHL.
And Ian?
Yes.
I shall be there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
I sadly will miss that one because I think it's on. Oh, maybe I'll watch it. I think it's on 9, so maybe I can watch that.
Ruben following us on Twitch now. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
I think you are our first follow.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So they play Texas again tomorrow, and then they also have 2 games left against Texas at the end of March, 1st of April. So again, top team in the Central Division. It's a tall order. They have 2 games also against the Colorado Eagles, who they will play next. Mm-hmm. Colorado Eagles, they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team, but they're a good team. They're currently 4th in the Pacific Division, so they're gonna have to beat a better team than they are. They have 2 games after that against the Condors, who I think are kind of getting out of reach here. Again, I think they're 7 points ahead now. I think catching the Condors is going to be a really tall order at this point. They're probably better off just focusing on Tucson. So like I said, they got the 2 games against Condors, the 2 games I mentioned against the Texas Stars. If they make it in, we get a preview of the team that they will play first in Coachella, who has kind of fed them their lunch all year. The only real easy game on the schedule is April 5th. It's a Wednesday night where they play the San Diego Gulls. The Gulls are the worst team in the AHL. That should be 2 points for the Barracuda, but with this team, you never know. Things that should be 2 points don't always turn into 2 points. But obviously, when you look at the rest of the schedule, like that's a game where if you're still in it, you need to take care of business. Then they will play the Colorado Eagles again after that in April 7th. Which leads them to April 8th, also playing the Eagles. And then April 14th and 15th is the end of the AHL season, and they will play the Tucson Roadrunners. And like I said, if they keep kind of in pace with each other and the Roadrunners don't pull away, I mean, this could determine who gets to get absolutely whacked by Coachella. Because I think that's the sad thing. Like I'm excited because I want to watch hockey that matters. And
how dare you?
I know. And with the Barracuda, right? Like, I mean, we can also see what they are, right? Like you look at the AHL standings, and the Barracuda are, I think, the 3rd worst team in the league, and they're going to get in the playoffs because 7 teams, or they might make the playoffs. I don't want to say they are because that's not a given, but if they do make the playoffs, they make it because 7 teams in the Pacific make it. But this is a team that has in the Barracuda that have a losing record. I think a 4.74 win percentage. So I know what it is, but at the same time, when you're watching this string play out for the Sharks, where you have they're not playing for anything.
Yeah.
Like you kind of want them to lose at this point because there's no point winning. Like there's nothing they can win unless if they play like a team like Vegas, or maybe they'll find a team that we just absolutely despise again and just completely wreck their playoff hopes. I can get up for that.
Oh, I'm all for playing spoiler.
I'm all for playing spoiler, especially if we can like do that to another team. Like I think that could be fun. I could get up for that game. But at least like the Barracuda, I mean, again, I don't think they haven't beaten Coachella yet this year. I think they played them very hard their last few games with Coachella. But it's going to be a tall order to upset Coachella. 2 out of 3 games. Oh, and even if you play 3 games, they're all in Coachella.
Jeez. So on the stream, this little experiment that we're trying right now, I've learned a couple things so far.
Okay.
I've learned that the Twitch feed is as close to live as you can get.
I believe it.
It's actually, I mean, I'm looking right here. It's maybe a 2-second delay. It's super close.
Yeah, because YouTube's lagged to hell. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Let's see here. So let me see. If I hold up my can, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so the Twitter is about a 13-second lag, which is on par with YouTube and Facebook. But man, that Twitch, whoo, man,
there you go.
That's look at this, and we even have Puck Guy coming in live on the Twitch.
There we are. Lacey's bringing up a good point in the chat too that I should have brought up. The Barracuda, they've been pretty consistently competitive for the last, like there's been a couple of games where I think that things haven't gone well, but I would still say that the Barracuda probably overall have played their best hockey over the last little bit. I was kind of excited, like I was hoping tonight we'd kind of see some new faces.
You mean like from like the Meyer trade, or?
Yeah, like I was hoping to see maybe Mukmadulin get in tonight.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, he just got here. I mean, obviously, he's got to adjust to the time. I'm sure they want to get him a few practices in so he could know some of the systems instead of just throwing him on the ice after playing on the bigger ice for
get him a lap
all
dance,
year.
Get him laid.
I don't know about that, but I think they probably want to give him a chance to get in, and obviously, the other gentleman in the trade, and I'm trying to remember how to pronounce his name.
Like,
Not Mukmadulin.
Nikita.
Yes, Hochuk.
Yeah.
Dude,
it literally sounds like somebody hawking a loogie. So Nikita, whew.
Hochuk. I think for him, obviously, they want to make sure that he is able to play. So I think he's going to get reevaluated at some point soon. So hopefully we'll see him draw into the lineup at some point. I'm curious to see what some of these guys do. Obviously, look, man, the Barracuda have played some pretty good hockey despite having some pretty significant pieces removed from their lineup. I think obviously I liked Knyzhov's game as the season has gone on, as he kind of got back up to speed. Derek Pouliot's a big loss to this blue line. I don't think much of Derek Pouliot as an NHL defenseman, but I think he's been a huge loss for this blue line for the Barracuda.
It's funny you bring that up because I think he's done okay. Maybe he was put out over his skis being paired with Carlson last night, but I mean that blew me a little bit away, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're taking Knyzhov away from? Okay, fine, but my big thing
I think they're just trying to find guys with chemistry at this point.
Or the whole thing is, hey, upping value for this off season, right? Because every time you put somebody together with Carlson, they kill it.
Yeah.
But my point was, I've loved Knyzhov. I just want to know, what happens when McDonald and Shimmick are healthy?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Shimmick's ever going to be healthy at this rate.
You're right.
And I feel really bad saying that. Obviously,
you asshole.
But because I feel bad. Like, I mean, obviously, look at head injuries are no joke, and obviously, I want Shimmick to just be fine. Like, no one wants to see anyone's careers ended by concussions, obviously. And I just want Shimmick to be just healthy at this point. But if that requires him not playing the rest of the season, then so be it at this point. I just want to see the dude be healthy, because I think he's had a tough go of it. Like him, Knyzhov too is another guy who's just had a really tough go of it, right? So I'm happy that, Knyzhov came in and got a goal and got a chance to play with Erik Karlsson. Like all these things are great for him, and I think these are the things that I'm trying to find to get me through the rest of the season. Like just nice stories like that, because shit, it's all we got at this point.
You're right.
We got nice stories, and that's about it. So, Šimek, I like Šimek. I don't think I don't love Šimek. I think he's a replaceable part, but obviously that doesn't mean I don't want to see him get healthy at some point. So I mean, it'd be nice to see a guy like McDonald come back in if he comes back in, which I think is more likely than Šimek at this point. Do they send someone back down to help the Barracuda? I hope so, because again, like this Barracuda team, the subtractions they've suffered are from the one position where they really didn't have the depth to suffer them.
Mm-hmm.
This blue line, when healthy, when 100%, is still deep as a puddle. So if it's, if you start taking decent pieces off that blue line, which they have at this point, it's hard. Look at, and there's been guys that have come in. Kevin will tell you, and I agree with him, that Brady's came in on an ATO, got a contract, and has really performed really well. I think Knyzhov has had a good season. I don't know if there's an NHL defenseman there, but I think he's made some great strides this season, especially once I think you noticed Knyzhov more once Merkley was gone.
I think, to be fair, I noticed Knyzhov when Merkley was here.
Yeah, I think
that says more about Merkley than Knyzhov.
yeah. Like I think, but Merkley would he was kind of the guy that you would focus on more because obviously of the draft pedigree.
Yeah. And I'm still going to defend that pick to the day I die, because I would much rather, when Junior was here. Yeah, it was like I would much rather you swing for the fences than take the quote unquote low risk, low reward one.
Yeah.
Swing for the fences, because once in a while you're going to get all ball and you're going to, put that thing right over the fence. And unfortunately, Merkley was not it, but we'll see what happens. See, and this is some stuff that we're going to get into on the Pucknologist on Sunday is, what this defense is going to look like next season, especially if the Sharks are able to find a trade partner for Karlsson. And of course the reason why of course we're going to talk about it is who is going to. It's obviously not going to be one person. What are the pieces that are going to be able to pick up the offense that he brought? Because we all saw what happened after 2017 when Pavelski and Nyquist and Donskoy left, and they never found anybody to replace that offense. And then you look at what Karlsson has brought to the table this year. It's like, holy, Chief accounts for what, like 52% of the points from the blue line from one guy. I think he is responsible for like 18% of the 5-on-5 points. So it's
a silly number. They're just absolutely silly numbers.
And I'll tell you, I don't know. Like I've said it a couple shows ago where I was like, I felt like, you could probably etch Karlsson's name on the Norris. Now, do I think he's deserving of it? I don't know that he is. It's got to be pretty funny to give a trophy for defense to a guy who is not known for playing defense. But the
Norris has never been about defense.
I know, but that's what I think is so funny is that I feel like there needs to be a secondary trophy. It's like the Norris needs to be the, defenseman that most plays like a forward. And then you have another trophy that is like, the Bobby Orr or whatever.
If you do the Bobby Orr, you make that the offensive trophy. Well, then that was Bobby Orr too.
There you go. Yeah, but from what I understand, Bobby Orr could also like kill penalties like nobody's business.
I mean, maybe.
So
I don't know. Such a different game, right?
Yeah,
but I mean,
but you get what I'm saying.
It's numbers.
It's like, yeah, but it's the Oh, it was The Athletic earlier this week. Hell, it might have been today. They posted a graphic that kind of summed up what was it? I think it was it well, you know, I mean, Dom goes a little bit nuts with the numbers over at The Athletic, but it was games
noted numbers guy.
Yeah, now games played. And it went okay, now Shea Theodore kind of fucked, only 44 games because of injury. Cale Makar only 49 games because of injury. But for the most of it, it's all guys that have played 60 or more games.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Carlson has on this whole list, he's the one guy on the entire list that has played all the entire games up when this list was made, which was up through 65. And so it's got average time on ice. And Carlson comes in. Where do you think out of the top 10? Where do you think Carlson comes in time on ice? Top 10 defensemen in the league.
Somewhere in the middle, I'd guess. Maybe lower middle. Third, eh? God, that does surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, it's no, wait a minute. Hold on. Am I reading this correctly? No, I'm sorry. Third, Cale Makar, 26.7 minutes. Rasmus Dahlin, 25.8. Erik Karlsson, 25.6. So he's third on the list.
Okay.
Now, goals, he has 19. Second on the list, Dougie Hamilton at 18. Roman Josi, 17 goals. So he's third. Then you go to assists, and, you know, Carlson's number is just ridiculous. 60,
he just
63. Yeah, 63. Next on the list, Rasmus Dahlin with 49. Adam Fox with 47. So points, you know, Carlson is like 20 points ahead of everybody else at 82
on a team that just doesn't
is
score
ass
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Rasmus Dahlin 63, Dougie Hamilton 61. Now here's the fucked up part is that they have this. It's not like it's not the plus minus that we're used to, that stupid stat. It's just this offensive, like what you bring to the party, and then there's a defensive thing.
Sure.
And here's the fucked up part is like offense. Carlson just tips the scales 25.3. The next one in line, funnily enough, at 20.9, Brent Burns. Right? But it's the defensive side is the kick in the smalls. Number one, Hampus Lindholm, 28.5. Brent Burns, 22.8. Jared Spurgeon, 30.6, clearing away the far leader. There's only one player to be negative in this, and it's a negative 12.1. And that player is Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't know. I look at the other thing too, like Brent Burns, and I like Brent Burns. Noted Brent Burns liker. Isn't he playing with like Jacob Slavin though?
Probably.
Who, in my opinion, is the best defensive. Like he is this generation's Vlasic. He's the defenseman that I don't think gets nearly enough love for actually playing defense. In my opinion, like, you know what I mean? Like for a long time, I think Vlasic was really unheralded. I think Jacob Slavin's that guy now.
Okay, hold on. Now we're going to start handing out some responsibilities. You've brought this on yourself, Kevin.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Lace. Looking at you, buddy. Because Lacey I've been wanting us to be on Twitch for 2 years. Much better platform, blah, blah, blah. Now he just said, we need to get some reward challenge points going on in this channel. Sir, you have just taken on that responsibility. Get on it. I will give you the keys. Do it. Just like Jerk runs the Discord and is the king of that. You can be the king of our Twitch and lock that shit together. I would so appreciate it. That would be fantastic.
Twitch is great for live streaming. I just don't know if it's great for, I mean, I guess that's why a lot of Twitch people have YouTube channels as well. So they have all their, so you can go back and watch their archive stuff on YouTube.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think at this point, I don't think I have anything set up to archive on Twitch. Cause again, everything it's, you know, if you want to watch us live on a quicker, different platform, Twitch is your go-to. But if you want to hit the replay, listen to us audio or listen to us on on YouTube.
YouTube.
But Lana Cole saying, as much as Twitch is better, them having multiple unskippable ads really pisses me off sometimes. Oh, see, now
Truth.
I wasn't aware of that. I don't know. Shardal Gupta. Hi, AJ. Hi, Ian.
Hello.
Hi, Shardal. Let's see. Lacey saying, yeah, I learned that the hard way about archiving too. Yeah, I don't give a shit about archiving on Twitch because it's all going to be on, like I said, we're multi-streaming. So
no, I know, but I think I know a while ago when we were doing TGG on its own channel and we talked about Twitch, but I'm like, but where are they going to watch it after the fact? And
YouTube,
that was
bitch.
kind of my, and that's why.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I just noticed Shardal that said hello to both of us. It's the first comment that we've gotten off the Facebook Live.
Oh, well,
feed.
hello on Facebook.
So that's pretty cool.
This is fun. I'm glad that we got to do this and also guinea pig the multi-streaming.
Yeah, I was going to say
Barracuda at the same time. It's actually worked out really well.
Yeah, dude, I was going to be like a little upset if I tried to fire this shit up on Sunday and everything collapsed. So yeah, totally happy that we had this offer. Oh, I'm sorry, can't say opportunity. That's overused. Happy we had this chance, this break, this look to try this out tonight because I updated Ecan. I went and looked on YouTube and saw some different videos about the latest release, and they talked about, you no longer need this third-party software to go multi-stream. You can do it native out of the box now. And I went, and all of a sudden my head went, really? And plugged everything in. The only thing I haven't figured out right now is to go to Instagram Live, but we'll see if we can add that on between now and Sunday for the Sunday show.
Figure it out.
But right now,
I have to do some homework on OBS to see if I can be consistent with everyone else.
No, this is really cool because it shows that we have 18 live viewers on YouTube.
John Swenson asking for a MySpace feed.
2 on Twitter, 5 on Twitch, and 1 on Facebook. So this is pretty cool. Let me see. Oh, Felix, I didn't think this would actually be on Twitch as well. See, there you go. Shardal, how are you guys doing tonight? It is so heartbreaking that the San Jose Barracuda lost tonight against the Texas Stars on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, not a good outcome for the Barracuda. Obviously, look at Barracuda are at a point where they need every last point they can get, right? They can't really afford to get into a cold streak now.
Hey, Ian,
where they start. Yep.
You know who might help that after tomorrow? William Eklund.
William Eklund?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the Sharks do there.
Show me the cost benefit of keeping him up.
There is none, and I get it. Like from a business perspective, I completely understand, and I don't think like a lot of people are like, oh, what if they send him back down? They're gonna ruin that relationship, and he's gonna demand a trade, and I think he'll get it. Like he won't like it. Like and he shouldn't. No, it's like
dude, we're going to send you back down. You're gonna have a chance to help the team that you're on now, the San Jose Sharks. Playoffs left back on Halloween. Okay.
Yeah.
You can come back to the Barracuda, try to help this team make it to the playoffs and get some of that experience, and just know that based on these 8 games, because I would say 8. I think it'd be kind of fucked up to play against the Islanders tomorrow and then fly his ass up to Western Canada just to send him back the next day. It's just kind of like, no, let's fetch me Kaut, like I said last night during After Dark. Like, just bring Kaut up, put Eklund down, and let him and send him down with the knowledge that just finish out the season. It's 12 more games. It's less than a month. Finish out your season. And just know that you're going to be on the opening roster for the Sharks next year.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And I think, I think William Eklund's done a good job since being up in the NHL. Like I said on After Dark yesterday, like I'm glad that everyone gets to see the Eklund that I've been watching all year. Because I think the Barracuda definitely have eyeballs, but I don't think they get as many eyeballs as maybe they don't deserve this year.
Lacey pointing out that the Cuda are 4-3 since Eklund was called up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the one thing. Like that is the one thing where I would give the Barracuda credit, because they had every reason to just curl up and die and just
On the blue line.
post out. Yeah, they lost their most dynamic player, and they lost they lost big pieces on their blue line. Like, they could just roll up and die, and they haven't yet.
How long do you think? I don't know that Agazino gets enough credit for what he's done this year.
Well, I think Agazino gets. I think he does. I think Agazino's been a big part. I mean, he's the captain. I think that. I think he gets a ton of credit. I think the problem is when you look at a guy like Andrew Agazino and this isn't a bad thing. I just think when it comes to the Sharks, I just don't see the fit, because I just think the Sharks have so many.
Well, he's 32.
Correct.
That as well. So you think next season it's like, obviously, Agazino's signed for one more year, so you keep him as captain. Do you would you extend Kaka at 30 years old?
Yes. I look at there's guys on the Barracuda that you need. Like, you need those guys that have been in the league for a while, and like Andrew Agazino, again, do I think like he's a guy that would come up and play a couple of games in the NHL, and it'd be a really good story. Like, remember, and this is kind of pulling back. Remember when like Brian Lurg got a couple of games with the Sharks?
Lurg!
Right? It's that situation, right? With a guy like Agazino, it's that situation. Really good AHL player. And I don't think like people would say that as like a derogatory thing. And I don't think it is, because I think that, one, like, Andrew Agazino would go to your pickup game and fucking smoke everybody. Because to be a good player, to be a good player in the AHL, you still have to be a really good hockey player. To be a bad player in the NHL, you still have to be a really good hockey player to be a bad player in the NHL.
So who's the third guy? I mean, because Agazino is kind of like, okay, career AHLer. Griscoello, probably the same. So that's a guy that, based on his age, his tenure, probably a good idea that he's a mentor. You slap a letter on him. Who's the third guy? Do you think, is it a VL?
Yeah, I mean, VL's wearing a leather now, and it's going to be interesting to see what VL does this summer, because obviously he's not going to play enough games to become to be an RFA still.
So he becomes UFA 6, right?
Right, yeah, Group 6 unrestricted free agent. So it's going to be interesting to see if he sticks around or if he maybe tries to find greener pastures. Jeff VL, to me, is a guy who I think he's a good glue guy, right? Sometimes he can be very frustrating, because I think he takes some really, really stupid penalties.
Well, is VL just a shorter way of spelling the name Gadjevic?
Yeah, I mean,
and Gadjevic's 2 years. I was going to say, and Gadjevic's 2 years younger. I think, maybe you let VL walk.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you might do. Although I think if he doesn't, if Jeff VL's a guy that can't find an NHL contract somewhere, then maybe you go and say, hey, I've got an AHL deal for you.
Yeah. And Lacey's saying the third letter should go to Pouliot.
Derek Pouliot would be a guy who would absolutely
wear it.
Should get a number.
Broden Smith, bringing on the super chat, sir. Thank you. Says, hey, love the pod. Are you at all concerned for the Barracuda and development of prospects? I don't know. Is that it makes me wonder, is that a dig at McCarthy? I don't know that McCarthy has done the coaching staff has done that great.
I see. Yeah. So I think John McCarthy John McCarthy's a rookie head coach in the league. So I think I've extended him a lot of rope because of that. Do I think it's been a great first season for McCarthy? No. I mean, there's been some times where, when the Barracuda were just killing themselves with penalties, right? And he's kind of like, well, we've addressed it, but I just don't know how to make them stop doing it. It's like, well, you control the ice time, dummy.
I was going to say, then you haven't addressed it.
Yeah, I mean, like there's been some times where I've seen like McCarthy kind of just throw his hands up, like, well, I don't know how to fix this, and it's like, well, you're the head coach, you need to figure this out.
How did Somner handle it with you, dumbass?
Wow. There's another complete kettle of fish. So I think, am I concerned? But I want to see what McCarthy learns from this season. If we get into if we get into the first quarter of next season and these problems persist, then I think Mike Grier needs to have a come to Jesus moment with them.
Do you think this also might be a situation that maybe Quinn and McCarthy didn't have the opportunity to get on the same page at the beginning of the season?
That's possible too. I think John McCarthy's learning a lot of lessons right now. It's on the fly. I want to see how he reacts. Like, I want to see how he applies what he's learned this season. I think because there's been a couple things where you're kind of like, yeah, rookie head coach. Like, I don't love the way he's used his timeouts this year. Because I think another situation where it's like, oh, you got guys like taking penalties and, and just being stupid, call a timeout, get the guys to come back under control, kind of reel them in. So I think that, again, like these are situations where I think John McCarthy has to be better. But he's a rookie coach. So I don't want to I don't want to completely get the knives out for him yet. But I think that if he doesn't take any lessons from this year or doesn't take the right lessons from this year, I think there's going to be some reasonable questions that may have to be asked. As far as overall development, it's hard because, again, we've just had a regime change. I don't think the Barracuda have done a particularly good job. I don't think the Sharks AHL system has ever really been that great at developing players that have spent any significant amount of time there.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of players that have gone on to have success with the Sharks. It seems like the more success they've had with the Sharks, the less time they've spent.
Yeah, and I mean, look at it. And sometimes that just happens, right? Because good players obviously aren't going to. You don't bury your good players in the AHL typically, especially right now. It's fine for the Sharks because the Sharks are in a new situation that they haven't been in a really long time.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, name me a player aside from say Goodrow that marinated for a long time and actually came up and contributed. And I'm sure Lacey's going to have 3 names.
Barclay Goodrow, but at the same time,
hey, got your number 1 pick, bitch.
Yeah, but if that's the success you're going to hang your hat on,
oh, of course.
I don't think and again, I know people are going to come after me for this because everyone likes Barclay Goodrow, and I like Barclay Goodrow too. But I just think if that's what you're hanging your hat on as a development system, I mean, I love Barclay Goodrow, but Barclay Goodrow is a bottom 6 player.
Well, Lacey's saying that he thinks that LeBanc would have been better served to have played a full year in the AHL first.
Yeah, I think maybe. I think maybe he's probably right there. Actually, I have a hard time developing an argument against that.
Yeah.
Although I think the problem is also, I think when LeBanc came up, the Sharks were looking for guys on the cheap to fill holes because of their contract situation. So,
sure,
I see it from both sides, right? Obviously they needed cheap players to come in and kind of fill that roster spots. But could Kevin LeBanc have maybe gotten a little better from playing in the AHL longer? I don't know, man. Roy Sommer, I don't know.
Dude, this is awesome. I learn a little bit more. I appreciate the technology. Swenson letting me know says, "Oh, you need 50 followers to get a Twitch subscription button enabled."
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we evidently have 8 at this point. So, hey, everybody, if you have Twitch, do us a favor. Follow us on there, twitch.tv/TealTownUSA. We'd appreciate it. If we got 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, I think we can reach 50 on Twitch. I would hope so. So help us out. And just to let you know, like I said, this Twitch stream seems to be really close to almost real time from us streaming. I mean, hold on. Like I said, I'm looking at my live stream on this on this monitor, and then I've got a monitor over here. So let me hold this up. 1, 2, 3, and boom! I already see the can that I just held up. So it's a 3-second lag. That is huge. So you might. Oh, the other thing is that it's showing that Twitch is streaming us in 1080p.
There you go. I want to answer Broden's question. Did Timo spend time in the AHL? Yes. Timo Meier played 33 games, I believe, in the American Hockey League before getting called up, and then he never went back down.
He played.
And again, And again, like, but Timo Meyer's a top 10 pick, right? Like, he's not
Well,
supposed to spend a bunch of time in the AHL. So.
You know what the thing is that I remember Timo playing with the CUDA.
Mhm.
First off, because I remember going to like one of those Meet the Barracuda events,
Mhm.
and they're doing autographs and shit like that. But I remember at that point you talking about him saying, Timo could be a really good player. He needs to get his fucking ego and anger under control. Because
his shot.
Huh?
His shot. Like, the one thing that I think his adjustment where I think he's become a really good, like, Timo Meier loves to shoot the puck, right? He's a guy who, I think he's one of the highest shooting players
this year
in the NHL. The problem was with Timo Meier before was that he didn't really think about where he was placing those shots, because when you come from junior hockey, especially the Q, a lot of guys just blow the puck through goalies, so they're just used to shooting it through the goalie, because goalies in junior hockey aren't that great, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think the one place where Canada's really fallen behind in their development of players is in goaltending, and that's probably not the first time you've heard this. Yeah.
I just remember you getting on him that it's like he would take dumb penalties and had like a little too much, like if somebody like bumped his shoulders, oh fuck you, I'm gonna kick your, it was like, dude.
Kevin in the chat reminding me that we used to call him Timo Meier Diet Lucic. I remember that. I completely forgot about that until now.
John Swenson hitting the super chat. Thank you so much. Pretend this is 2 Twitch subscriptions. Thank you. That's all.
It, man.
Holy dude, this is amazing. I'm sitting here looking at the live feed, and I hit that button, and like 2 seconds later, it comes up on the Twitch that I'm monitoring. I cannot get over, first off, how clear the Twitch stream is and how fast it is. Oh, we're going to have some fun on Sunday. Oh, by the way, for those of you watching...
I completely forgot. Diet Lucic. That's amazing.
For those of you watching, we might have the reasonable jerk facsimile in on Sunday. Ian maybe coming in.
Yeah.
But I'm real happy with the rundown this week, so it should be fun. In fact, you know what?
I'll go and peek just in case.
I want to while you're here, we're gonna try some shit.
Okay. I appreciate everyone coming for the Barracuda talk, and then staying for our guinea pigging.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
If I hit this applause button, do you hear this? Did you hear anything?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to switch the mix on that. Okay, that's the one thing, is that I was wondering if the onboard sound effects fed that way. So I'm gonna have to mess with them. But it's all good. It's all good.
It is pretty good.
But what if I play a clip? Let's see what happens if I play a clip.
Okay.
Let me find a clip. Well, let me find my favorite LeBron James clip. Are you able to hear this?
Fuck, man. Thank you, guys.
Did you hear that?
No, I got nothing.
Damn.
Fuck, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, fuck, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that's what I can't remember what exactly it was. But
all right, so I got to look into changing that feed. But hey, one thing at a time, man. I got us on 4 different platforms at once. Then we'll work on feeding the audio.
Yeah.
Oh, what is this on the Twitch stream? I said, Felix, Twitch is honestly really dope. If I could, I'd give out gift subs. Oh,
yeah.
And then I was like, who is this? And then I'm like, oh, it says K Lacey 22.
Nice.
I'm so used to Kevin Lacey on YouTube, not K Lacey 22. So
it's yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's cool. I like that we are branching out.
Hell yeah.
Our evil empire.
Dude, I can't wait till to see Puck Guy's head explode. He's like, how do I do this?
Is this gonna melt Puck Guy's computer?
Yeah. No, this is a Sunday show thing, bitch.
If anyone in the chat though, if you have any other questions about the Barracuda, man, I am all ears. What do you got me here?
Yeah. Let her rip before we wrap this up here.
I have a question for the chat actually, because I was kind of defensive of Thomas Bordeleau last night, but man, I don't know, man. Like I feel like maybe we might need to get the milk carton ready for this guy. How do you guys? Anyone who's watched the Barracuda this year like?
Hold on, when you say milk carton, what the hell are you talking about?
I don't know where Thomas Bartolo is. I mean, I've seen him. He's been on the ice, but
he's been a
quiet.
little absent as
He's
of.
been a little quiet of late, and I still think some of it is a little bit of puck luck, but I don't know, man. Like watching tonight, and maybe tonight's not a great game because again, the Barracuda kind of got pushed around, and Texas really dominated the play.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I like Thomas Bortolo a lot, so I think that's my question to the chat is like, what do you guys think about Thomas Bortolo of late? Like, Lacey saying Bortolo suddenly disappeared without Eklund, even though they don't play on the same line unless the power play. It's true. They happen to be on the same line. It's weird, and again, maybe tonight's a bad game to judge that by because again, like the Barracuda, I think to get the goals they got, they capitalized on a couple of opportunities that they had, but they didn't really get a lot in the way of opportunities. But I mean, again, like their schedule, like I went over their schedule earlier, it doesn't get very much easier. I think they've got a pretty tough path ahead of them. As far as trying to make the playoffs here, and they just got to hope that the Roadrunners, I think, who are they're pretty much on the same level, these two teams. So it'll be interested to see what their schedule looks like and how they take advantage of it because the Barracuda schedule is incredibly unkind. See, and yeah, so Lacey says he's more concerned about Robin's fall from grace the last 2 months. I think, but I at least I noticed Robin's tonight. Like I didn't feel like I noticed Bortolo very much, except for I think maybe one play.
I was going to say, did Weisblatt play tonight?
Weisblatt did play tonight.
I saw him early in the first period, like he made a play or two, and then I didn't see him for much of it.
Again, they just got whacked. Like
yeah.
Like maybe this was, like I said, maybe this is not a good game to like start getting milk cartons ready for anybody because Texas pretty much controlled the pace of this game. I think Ozzy Weisblatt, actually, he's a player who I've been really impressed with. I think he's really come on. Again, I don't look to Ozzy Weisblatt to be this big scoring guy. Like I think he's going to be, he's going to be a good sandpaper guy who can probably, who I think at the NHL level, I think he's going to be a sandpaper guy who can probably get you a couple of goals, but you're not like calling Ozzy Weisblatt to boost your scoring. Like he's going to be a sandpaper guy who I think can play, who can pitch in on the offense, but he's not going to be a guy you're going to go to expecting offensive production.
Let me a couple thank yous for the Twitch as we're trying to pump that up. Ruben, thank you for subscribing on the Twitch. Kevin Lacey, thank you. Hot Wheels, thank you, sir. And what might be my favorite username of the night, Large Elvis.
Love it.
Thank you for checking us out there on the Twitch stream. That's very cool. You can see my full screen, right?
I usually don't. I usually, like, the second I'm on Skype, I usually put it away.
Oh, I was going to say, but I mean, so that way you can interact with the chat while I dip out for a second. Kevin Lacey, the milk carton spot should go to Hamelick. And who the fuck is Mitchell Russell?
Yeah. I mean, they've been gone for a while. Let me get Broden Smith here. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Again, this is along with playing with the new platform and everything like that. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. There should be a plus button up in this motherfucker. Let's see. Translate, blah, 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 blah. No, not that. Hold on. Plus. And let's see. We're scrolling and we're scrolling and we're scrolling some more. And, well, unfortunately, Kevin Lacey is not on Skype right now. If he was, I would bring him into the conversation. Look at this fucking guy.
Sad. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
I lost my screen here, so.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will get so John Swenson is Large Elvis. It's his gaming name. I love it. Broden Smith asking thoughts on Gushkin. So Gushkin, I've really liked this season. I like the way Gushkin has come along.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: Robbins, Gushkin, or Coe? Like, who's rank them 1, 2, 3 out of those three? Robbins, Gushkin,
I think it's the
Coe.
way you gave me. Gushkin, Robbins, Coe. At that point, I know Coe just came back from being kind of banged up, so maybe not 100% fair. Gushkin, I think, has been like he's been on another level. I just don't know if because a lot of people are asking like, okay, so would you bring up Gushkin to the NHL? I don't know if I would, and it's not because I don't think Gushkin's been good. He's been good. I think he's been a guy who a lot of expectations were placed on, and I think he's matched them. I just don't think that he thinks the game at an NHL level yet. Like, I don't think his decision making is NHL level. So I think a player as he's a pretty one-dimensional player. He's very offensively gifted, and I don't know if you sent him to the NHL now. I don't know if that would be fantastic for his development. I don't think.
Okay, hold on. Two things here. John Swenson in the chat. Do you think there is any way the Sharks can pry goalie Dustin Wolf from Calgary? They are locked into Markstrom 3 more years, $6 million per. Holy shit, $6 million per. And they're rolling with Darth Vladar.
I mean, I don't want to see that. Like, I like Dustin Wolf, and I think if you're looking to give this goaltending group a shot in the arm, Dustin Wolf is a great way to do it.
That's
I think he's a guy who
name,
could,
by the way.
Yeah, I think he is a guy who could step in and kind of really jump the pack as far as when it comes to Shark goaltending, especially if you're looking for a guy like we don't think James Reimer is back next year. Obviously, you're stuck with Kaapo Kakkonen for one more year. Do you bring in a guy like is a guy like Dustin Wolf could come in and maybe they can play between him and Kakkonen, you can get kind of a pontoon going there. I just think to get a guy like Dustin Wolf, I'm afraid of what the Sharks would have to give up to get him.
Oh, really? It'd be that much, huh?
Yeah, I think it's hard because it's one of those things where goalies can kind of just go for weird trades sometimes. So maybe you get him for nothing. But I think Dustin Wolf's a guy who's kind of on everyone's radar. And I think if Calgary made him available, he's going to have a lot of bidders.
Well, the other thing being, though, is last time I looked, I mean, Beaupit, Krona, I mean, it's a bit of a logjam in the goalie pipes. You know what I mean?
They do.
But so I'm more than willing to sweep it all out for the good guy.
That's the thing, right? I think Dustin Wolf, there's guys that I like in the system, right? And then there's guys that I have some concerns with. Magnus Krone, I have questions about, because I think he's a big goalie, and I think he's a good goalie on a great team.
So like Niemi in Chicago in 2010.
Yeah, so I have some questions about Krona. If he's a guy who is good because he's on a great team in Denver.
Gotcha.
I wonder if that's elevated him a little bit. I'm curious. I honestly, and with the logjam the Sharks have in net, Magnus Krone is a guy who we haven't really heard much about. As far as from the Sharks, nothing from the Sharks has really talked about him. Mm-mm. He's a guy I wonder if he's a guy that Doug Wilson Jr. liked, and maybe Mike Greer might not, and maybe he's a guy who doesn't sign here and just becomes goes the August 5th route. 15th.
Let's see, Lacey, do we have you on?
Hello, everybody.
You hear the Lace man, Ian?
Yes, I hear Lacey.
All right, so you guys can go out about Bo Pitt and Gaudreau, and I'll be back.
I was gonna jump in and say that in my opinion, Dustin Wolf is hands down way better than any of the prospects that
I
we
agree.
have in the
Yeah,
system.
I agree. He's the almost finished product, and everything else is a project that the Sharks really have.
And Patrick Williams tweeted earlier tonight saying, at this point, the only thing that Dustin Wolf has left to do in the AHL is win the Calder Cup.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, the guy dominates. He's completely dominant. And this is a player who pretty much every team passed on 6 times.
I know.
What you're talking about?
I was talking about Magnus Krona.
What's up?
I was talking about Magnus Krona when you came on.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I have questions if he even signs in San Jose, or is he a guy that they're just going to let, maybe they trade him before August 15th. But is he, like, to me, I wonder if he's the guy that just doesn't sign here.
It's tough to say because we've got Ben Gaudreau coming in. I believe it's his last year of junior this year.
Unless they want to send him back for an overage year.
They could. They could. But, I mean, Krona definitely is turning professional after this season. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, because NCAA now allows fifth-year players. So, I mean, technically he could. He'd just have to transfer to a different college in order to do it. But his stock, I feel like his stock would never be higher. I think my... What's up?
I just say I don't think his that. I think that's a risky move, right? Because I don't think his stock's going to get any higher than it would be right now playing on a really good Denver team.
Yeah, and to me, his numbers are not exciting on a really good team. Like, I just don't think there's enough there to. He's got some raw ability, but I just look at him as a slightly better Zach Aymond. Like, I'm just not a big Magnus Krona guy. But I also don't want to go too down on him because, as you know, I've also said NCAA goalie numbers don't matter.
Yeah. I just because it's such a logjam, right? And I think and the Sharks have kind of, it's been rumored that they're not really happy with what they have in their goaltending pipeline.
Sure.
And I think, and fair, I think it's better. I think at least at the AHL level, I think it's better than it's been in a long time. But I don't know if I see what you have in Arundel, obviously.
Yes.
Mäkiniemi I like, but I don't know if I like him that much. Where I think he's he's a future starting goalie.
I don't know if Mäkiniemi is a future starting goalie either, but at least Mäkiniemi is still young and has the trajectory to move upwards versus Arundel. We know he's a known commodity, but he's also getting up there in age, so to speak, because the league is a young man's game now, and so even at 31 or whatever that Arundel's at.
I know it feels like it's funny. He's only 31, and it's like, oh man, old man Arundel.
Yeah, old man. Yeah. in my day, players played until they were 38, 39.
And I think I've liked what I've seen from Strauss-Mann, but I haven't seen enough of Strauss-Mann to really have a good feel for what I think there yet. I've liked what I've seen so far for the most part. I think there's some flaws in his game that I think he does need to work on, but I don't it's been a long time since I've liked the Barracuda's goaltending.
Sure. I think with Strauss-Mann, my thought is you're going to have to move someone out of the organization to make room for Krona potentially, or make room for someone else they might want to bring in who's not even in the organization right now. And man, I don't think has done enough to solidify himself on this roster next season. So I could see him being the man out.
Let me ask you, can you guys hear this?
Yeah, I can hear you.
This one didn't really go as planned, but
are you able to hear that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is McCarthy's post game tonight.
Didn't really go as planned, but heading into tomorrow, what's the game plan?
We got to look at it. It was, a lot of areas of our game need to be cleaned up, breaking the puck out, depositing the puck for our forecheck. I think a lot of different areas we were below average tonight, and the score reflected it.
They're just kind of going from Dell the last few games and switching over to man. Was it just to get him in games for the back-to-back?
Yeah, and he's played well. You know, he earned an opportunity to play, and Dell had gotten a lot of games lately and wanted to, make sure Manor got a chance to get the net.
I want to ask you about Eto. He hasn't played in about a month or so. Is he? I suspect he's injured. When will he be back? Is it lower? McIniemi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he? What does he have? Lower upper body? When do you expect him back?
I'm not sure. They're still kind of figuring all that out. I'm not real sure when they're expecting him back.
Is it related to his injury from last year?
I don't believe it is. No.
Just kind of with getting so many guys, the ATO guys just assigned from the Sharks, getting them back into the lineup or getting them into the lineup in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's kind of rushing them in, just kind of avoiding that right now.
You talking about the kids, the ATOs that we signed?
Well, the ATOs and then the two that we just got from the Sharks, the Shakira and
the Arvidsson. Henderson. Excuse me. They were on the ice today. So we'll take a closer look at them and figure out what the best plan is to get them in.
Is it possible for Shakir to play tomorrow, or I know he's had a long flight? So.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that after and make a decision. Yeah, he's got a long travel, coming off a long playoff series, so we'll see.
I also want to ask you about Thomas Bortolo. Actually, last couple of weeks, has he? I don't know but has he been enough of an impact player just for what he can be? Has he been in your eyes?
Yes. I've had this discussion with him as well. I personally feel like he's closer to the NHL based off his last stretch than he was earlier in the year. I know that sounds crazy. The numbers aren't there, obviously. But he's playing a harder game. He's getting on the inside. He's competing on loose pucks more so than I felt, more so than in the beginning of the year. I actually feel like he's taking steps in the right direction.
I guess one guy who does have the numbers recently is Artemi. Just is it just some random points for a defenseman, or is there something happening there, or just sort of what has his progression been like?
Yeah, he was out with the injury after that hit, obviously. And it took him a couple games to kind of get back in his groove, and I think he's making some plays with the puck, picking when to join line rushes at the right times, and I think that's what's being reflected in the numbers.
Just kind of going into all these back-to-back games the last couple weeks of the season, managing lines time with so many guys right now that you have options, especially on the blue line. Mm-hmm. Is that just going to come into play like with the rotation? Is it just going to be game by game?
No, I mean we want to get in the playoffs. We're looking to win every night. So whoever gives us the best chance to do that is going to get to play. And it's good to have options. It's good to have competition. Competition typically raises the team performance as a whole. So it's a good situation.
So it sounds like the McIniemi not coming back anytime soon. Sounds like McCarthy is Sounds like McCarthy is thinks Bortolo needs to come up like tomorrow. Who was the other player that he kind of highlighted?
Nizev.
I thought there was somebody else. But
yeah, I mean, and again, like I think like I did bring up Bortolo earlier, and I think and again, like this game probably not the best game to be like, oh, where the hell's this guy been? Like, 'cause I don't think anyone was really there tonight, which is why I think like I was kind of quizzed, but I'm glad that other people are asking that question, so I don't feel like an idiot for asking it earlier.
Yeah, I was going to point out that I like how we brought this up on the show, and then now that's what got proposed to McCarthy there in the Q&A.
I was going to say, Lacey,
makes me feel smart.
Well, Lacey, were you at the game tonight?
No, I was not. Heck, I didn't even get out of work until the end of the first period. But I will be there tomorrow.
As will I, good sir.
Nice.
But no, I think like Nizev, I think he made some really good points there. Like I think that his, he highlighted something that has been a big part of his play, and that's choosing when to join the rush. Because I think he kind of there was times earlier in the season where he would just make ill-timed pinches and it would just go very badly the other way. And I think he has gotten better. I think he's been a guy who I think has, if you want to talk about like overall improvement, I think based on from what I've seen at the start of the season to the end, I think Knyzev might be the guy that I would circle and say this is the guy who's probably improved the most.
I know what the other thing was from the press conference that I was like, what did I forget? Who's the girl who covers the Barracuda now that used to be with like Shane? Liz. Yeah. So obviously that's Liz. I like the fact that she couldn't pronounce Shakir or Nikita because I sure as shit can't. But the fact that she asked if Shakir, coming, the travel in, might Shakir get on, be on the roster tomorrow. So, remains to be seen.
So. I want to see some of these guys play. I mean, I'm just excited because obviously look at
oh, dude, the way they played tonight, I'm surprised you're not asking for Frenzy to play on the bottom pair.
He might have helped.
They talked about having, or John McCarthy talked about having options, and tonight the Barracuda dressed 3 defensemen who were not, actually 4 defensemen who were not on the roster at the start of the season, if you count that Patrick Seeloff was on a tryout.
Correct.
So 4 defensemen with numbers in the 90s. There you go.
And didn't the Barracuda sign like 1 or 2 people on PTOs this week?
Yeah, they signed, the names are escaping me right now. I remember 95 and 91. And the throw-in player for Tony Sund, Arvid Henriksen, signed today. Yep. So we already won that trade by pure fact that our throw-in guy is getting a tryout over their throw-in guy. So,
oh my Lord.
Yeah, but Shakir Muhammadulin should be pretty. I'm pretty excited about him coming in, but I think we need to temper our expectations here. It's tough when he gets traded for Timo Meier, but we'll see how he does. And then Nikita Okhotyuk is still injured, but it sounds more promising. At least we're finally hearing that name, because even last night I was asking, where is this guy, with some people, and then all of a sudden today he gets brought up, and it's like, okay, thank you. I think it was a lower body injury, if I'm not mistaken, when he was still with Utica for Okhotyuk.
As we, and this is something that, of course, that we'll dive into a little bit further on Sunday night, but as we look forward towards next season, I mean, who is it on the CUDA now that you think this could be a guy who breaks through? Whether it's Gushkin, whether it's Kaut, whether it's Robbins, has Raska used up his usefulness already? Is Knizia or Knyzev somebody who could sidle in there? I mean, nobody's looking at Rydell. I mean, the guy has like 2 goals and they both came against Ontario.
I was telling Ian, I think this is the last we've seen of Will Rydell this season, which sucks because he just finally got a contract. And
look, I think some of these guys have come in and I think they've performed well. I think Kevin's saying the praises of Brady, and he's not wrong. He's a guy who came in on an ATO, and really solidified himself a spot. And
he got released and then got brought back.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I don't know. I mean, it's hard because I think obviously I think you're going to see guys like I think Eklund and Bordeleau get a chance to make the team out of camp.
Was Peterson an upgrade over Reedy?
So far I think they're the same guy.
I think so, in the sense of Scott Reedy no longer fit this system. Last season, he fit in Roy Sommer's system, and he does not fit in John McCarthy's system. But I don't know about you, Ian. I've been a little disappointed with Jacob Peterson. I feel like the hockey sense hasn't quite been there. A couple of times I felt like he was forcing plays, and you're going to see young players in the AHL force plays. But the way that Peterson was trying to move the puck tonight, I was not that thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's you're a player coming in. I look at Texas is a much better team than the Barracuda. So I think there's definitely adjustments you have to make when you switch teams. I don't want like again. I think he's been fine. But I mean, you traded an AHL guy for an AHL guy, and you have an AHL guy. Like maybe
Funny how that
seems
works
incredibly
out.
simplistic. Funny how that works, right? You
Yeah.
trade an AHL guy for an AHL guy, and you get an AHL guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see more, obviously. But I do agree. I think he's tried to maybe force plays that aren't there. And I think he's trying look at the Barracuda have a crowded forward group. You have to work or you're gonna find yourself watching from the bench or watching from the press box. Like there's enough forwards on this team that, especially now when you have guys that are going to be coming in on ATOs and, guys once they finish playing elsewhere are going to start coming over and they're going to start getting looks in those spots. So I think the effort's there. Like I will never question Peterson's effort. I just want to see him, I just want to see that effort become something.
Absolutely. AJ, I want to throw in a name as well, Martin Kaut. I think Martin Kaut's time in the AHL is limited.
That was the guy that's what I said last night on After Dark. I'm like, that's the guy that. Well, here, I'll throw it to you. You weren't on earlier. What is the cost benefit of keeping Eklund up rather than sending him down and letting him slide?
I think the cost benefit is at this point.
I shouldn't say cost benefit. I should just say benefit, but yeah.
Sure, yeah. The benefit is now you've given Eklund this hope, like, yes, I've made it to the NHL. Look at me. I'm scoring. I belong here. And it might be a little bit of a slap of the face to send him back down. Now, long term, I think it's perfectly fine. You guys know that I have said from day one, I don't want anyone called up this season. Like Nick Ciceks of the world, please send him to the NHL. It's perfectly fine for the long game. But I would prefer to have Eklund and Bordelot here at the AHL level. You're going to be in San Jose no matter what. So I don't even know why I'm
so that's my point. It's just kind of like, and Kaut was the problem for Merkley. So Kaut, from what I've seen on the stat sheet, has done decently with the CUDA. Give him a look with the big boys.
He's come up with
Martin Kaut is not going to give you a sexy game, but his production so far with this team cannot be denied. And he's not that old, but I think it's his third pro season in North America. So it is time for him to show that he can step his game up to make it to the NHL, or you got to cut bait after next season. So
there you go.
Yeah, to me, Martin Kaut's a guy that, in my opinion, his NHL, he's going to be a guy I don't think he's going to wow you on the stat sheet in the NHL, but I think you could throw Martin Kaut on a good shutdown line, and I think he could really excel at that in the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think there's an offensively. I don't know what I think of Martin Kaut as an NHL offensive forward, but I think his defense, is good enough that I think he could carve himself out a nice little spot as a guy who could, play on your third line and be defensively responsible.
Yeah. And he's willing to use his big body in the corners and throw his weight around. He doesn't go out for big hits or anything like that, but he's willing to just be strong on the boards and say, hey, I'm 6'3" and I'm going to make you notice that.
Yeah. And I think, look at, we all like big hits, but big hits aren't really the game anymore. It's more that play. It's just using your body more effectively on the boards, I think are the guys. There's still, going to be some guys that are obviously going to still lay out some big hits in this league, but it's becoming more of a dying art, in my opinion. The guy that can lay the big hit and then not, take himself out of the play because he laid out the big hit.
I know. Yeah. Lace, so what is the proper pronunciation, Nikita?
Wow, that was a perfect seg because I was about to say you might not like a Hotyuk then because
Right.
he's the guy who goes for the big hits.
Right.
No, I like it. So,
Hotyuk. I like it.
That was pretty good. Yeah, a Hotyuk. It might be
dude,
a
I'm
Hotyuk, but
I'm
pretty
gonna,
sure it's a
I
Hotyuk.
want you, Lacey, to get a jersey that says Hotyuk, and I'm gonna walk next to you in a jersey with the inverse number in
Bless
my,
you.
in it. No, it's gonna say Gesundheit.
Oh,
I
nice.
dig it.
So
Well,
wait. If a Hotyuk is the sneeze, then is Muhammadullah, is that word vomit?
No, that's no. Gesundheit goes better. That goes better. So I think with that, this has been a really fun test. It's of course gone on for 4 times as long as I expected.
80 minutes.
Oh, dude, we're at an hour. Yeah, hour 20, 80 minutes, sure. So, but I'm really happy that I was able to test this out, and from what I've
And
seen,
I'm happy I got to talk about the Barracuda.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that I got to test out the stream and was able to add on another person to come in and start chatting with us. And from what I've seen, no problems with the stream.
Yeah.
So this, this worked out great, dude. Sundays are going to be kicking.
Kicking ass.
And dude, Lace, I had no idea how like on point Twitch was. This is pretty dope.
Yeah, and I wasn't fully convinced either. And then I know a couple people who do stream on here, and I started giving it a shot, and was like, this isn't that bad, and it's got a pretty good reach for audience. So,
dude,
we got to dial in.
I'm looking
settings, and I think we're gonna be good.
I'm looking at the live cam feed on my main laptop. Not only is Twitch like maybe 2.5 seconds behind it, it's so close. It actually looks better on Twitch.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
it looks like I'm looking at 720 on my laptop, but I'm like 1080 4K over on the Twitch stream. This is amazing.
I was thinking you might even. I might even show up in 540p on my laptop at some point.
This is pretty bomb. The only problem is that we need to figure out how to get donations and super chats off Twitch.
Well, I think John was right about once we get to 50 followers, then we can get subscriptions going.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm putting that on you. That's your responsibility. You own that.
Uh-oh.
You own the Twitch.
So,
just like Jerk owns the
again,
Discord, you can own the Twitch.
There we go. Well, once again, twitch.tv/TealTownUSA if you want to give us a follow here. And again, thank you to everyone who's been watching on Twitter and Facebook. We've been raving about Twitch, but the fact that we have four platforms going right now is great. It's awesome.
And possibly 5. Working on Instagram. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I thought you were going to say OnlyFans after what he said earlier.
Oh, dude. Hey, you know what? OnlyFans probably easier than Instagram, to be honest. All right, so big boys, I think it's a good time to wrap this up. Ian, who's your goalie tomorrow? Are you going back to Dell then?
Yeah, I'm going back to Dell tomorrow.
And I mean, Lace, what do the CUDA need to change up between now and tomorrow against the Texas Stars?
More ferocity. Play the type of game that they've been playing the last few times against Coachella Valley, because this Texas Stars team is the same caliber as Coachella Valley. You have to play them that same hard-nosed, gritty way. Bring the force, and they'll be more rewarded.
So playing at 10:30 in the morning on a Wednesday won't help?
Not against Texas.
Not in this case. That game on Wednesday was awesome.
It was fucking fantastic.
They look like they were having a blast. I wish I could have been there.
Oh, dude. I'm sitting here working at, you see this monitor behind me. I was sitting there working on this computer while on this computer, had the like logged in, and I'm like, wait, what do you? I just logged in. Weisblatt already scored. What the fuck?
I was silently raising my arms in the air, like, yeah, hoping no one else would know.
It was awesome.
I was into it, man. I was yelling. It was
Dude.
amazing. It was Home Alone, so it was great. And it's like, yeah, like remember when hockey games were fun and you got excited when your team did well?
Oh, dude.
Well, that's what I want to encourage to Sharks fans. Like, I know this season's been dismal and we're praying for a first overall lottery pick. But
Yeah.
if you want to have some fun watching hockey, watch these Barracuda games. They're not all great, but
They're
are
not, but they're fun. And again, like, look at you finishing last in the AHL means you finished last in the AHL. It means nothing else.
Yeah, but all the young
There's
kids are
no-
like, we
Hey.
want a guy like Bennington in the net who loses his shit at the drop of a hat.
No one wants to.
Well-
St. Louis doesn't. I think Blues fans like him, but I don't think anyone else wants him.
You're right. All right, so we will catch you all tomorrow following Sharks and Islanders. It will be an After Dark, I believe. Puck Guy and Mark? Really?
Yeah.
Hello, Mark in the house. Love it. Love to see him. And then Sunday night, Pucknologist, which will be, I don't know about tomorrow for the Islanders, but I do know Sunday night might have the reasonable facsimile of Ian in for Jerk, and we might be on multiple platforms once again.
Yes,
I dig it.
I'm not the hockey jerk, but I am a jerk, so it works.
There you go. So thank you guys so much for joining us for a little Barracuda chat tonight, and there will be more between now and the end of the season. So enjoy your St. Patrick's Day, everybody, and we will catch you all tomorrow following Sharks and Islanders. Good night, everybody.